firstly, the title of the show, is it London's #1 or London's No One?
Well, it's kind of both of them really. It's like a bit of a play on words, because it's whether you want to sort of big yourself up and say you're like the #1, but then at the same time you're saying you're sort of a no one as well. Really, you're just sort of as insignificant as everybody else really.
Okay, and the flyer.
I don't know. I just really like the image. I thought it was a great image because it's really a beautifully composed photograph. There's like lots of little stories that go on in my work, and it's me at the bottom in the photograph with a balaclava on, looking really stylish, and it's my granddad who's just above me. And my granddad used to always like spin loads of yarns, and I guess that always is embedded in me. It just kind of, don't know, the whole thing of that image just seemed to fit in with what I was doing in the show, and I kind of wanted to have something that wasn't maybe really representative of what was going to be in the show, but was sort of like had some of the kind of ethos of what was going to be, the show was going to be about, sort of like kind of reflective sort of show.
And what about this sort of new style of work? How did it come about and develop?
It was a bit of a happy accident really, because I started off doing these drawings on board as preparations for paintings. I got about 3 or 4 of them together, and then I sort of thought, we'll just keep going with them. And I sort of thought, if they don't work as drawings, you can always paint on them. But they've taken on as much importance as a finished oil painting for me. I think they've kind of they've got a real like sharpness about them that's sort of, it's really nice. They're really crystallised, and I think the size of them as well, they've actually kind of got really bags of, if you want to read what you want to read into them, I think there's a real lot of stuff there that you can read your own little stories into them.
South London, born and bred. What does it mean for you to have an exhibition in your hometown?
Well, it wasn't a kind of intention to do something. I mean, it's something I kind of in the back of my mind wanted to do, but I think it was when I had my open studios, and well, you came along to the open studios and introduced yourself and said, oh, I've got this gallery, pop in and have a look, and I sort of thought, yeah, I might do sometime. Just by like coincidence, I came in about a couple of days later, and I just sort of walked in and really liked the vibe of the space, and I don't know, I just sort of thought, yeah, with this sort of this kind of work that I just started doing, I just sort of thought it'd really lend itself to this space. It's kind of good to be sort of back kind of where I kind of grew up, but then to kind of do a show that slightly relates to that, actually on that kind of patch as well. It kind of all makes sense. It's sort of like, not something I intended to do at all, it just sort of happened, but it sort of feels like natural, and it feels really right to be doing it, so yeah, it's good.
We're glad to see one of your favourites, the English Bull Terrier, in this collection, if only in its sort of stripped down state.
Well, I think that in a way that sort of stems back to the title of the show, because I was doing them when I was sort of just about when I left art school. I started doing English Bull Terriers because I knew people who had them, and they sort of seemed to be like the dog of around this area, and then they became almost like a self-portrait in a way. But yeah, no, I really like them. I sort of can draw one without even looking at one now. I know them so well. I can, just know how they walk and how they sit and how they kind of flop around and sort of, I mean, I suppose they can be a bit of a rod for your own back, but I do really enjoy drawing them, so I shall continue to do so. A lot of my kind of inspiration for the work comes from a series of different things, like from real life and from books and films, music. I mean, whether I'm painting or drawing, it's always the same, so it's jumbling everything together, and seeing what comes out in the mix. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be stuff in the show where there's a figure maybe in one drawing that's going to be maybe appear over the other side of the gallery in another drawing, and it'll almost be like, you know, the kind of thing of people having to do a double take sort of thing and go, hold on, you know, that figure was over there, now he's in there, and he's down by the coast, or you know, he's in the city there, or you know, there's a piece where I've got a couple of figures walking on their hands, and that actually comes from the original inspiration for that was from watching the film Trapeze with Burt Lancaster and Tony Curtis, where you know, Burt Lancaster and Tony Curtis are in Paris and they start walking along the streets on their hand, and Burt Lancaster's got a cane balanced on his foot while they're upside down. And I just always loved that image, really loved it, and the way the camera angles canted and everything. And I was just always like, well, why can't you do that in sort of still images, you know? And so from seeing that film, I don't know, donkeys years ago, it's always stuck in my head, that film. And I just sort of thought, right, well, I just want to do that image in a drawing, or similar image, and then I'm actually going to split the figures up so that they're actually walking on their hands on their own in separate images, and then I don't know, they might come back together in another thing. So it's like a lot of the drawings that I'm doing at the moment for the show. I mean, I must have about a dozen on the go that I couldn't say whether they're finished or not, and I probably ain't going to know for another week or two or something, but they're sort of just, I don't know, they're just sort of, when they're done, they're done.